Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I'm your host Andrew. Joining me tonight is Joe. How you holding up, man?
Best I can. Best I can.
I feel that at least you're playing for October. I'm playing for spring training right now. Maybe the Arizona Fall League, depending on how the prospects do, I guess. And football did not go well last night. So yeah, it was. Honestly, it wasn't the best weekend in football overall. So next week's got to be better, right?
I would hope so, but you never know.
Yeah,
I,
that's fair. That's fair. So, Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
for the most part, I've got nothing. I may go into the Pepsi Zero a little bit just to kind of, keep my voice under control. But yeah, I got nothing, man. It's been a crazy week. So
That's fair. Trying one of the local brews from Evergreen Brewing. Paradise Awaits. It's a passion fruit sour, neat can art, and it kicks a nice sour punch, which again, kind of perfect for how my season has gone so far. So, Joe, roll it off. Our favorite award nominees have been released today.
yeah, so every year they do this on Roberto Clemente Day. Where they announce the nominees to celebrate Clemente's humanitarian legacy. Um, every club has a nominee for this award. Um, and so there are 19 first time honorees in this list that I'll be reading off for you. Um, it's a major league player who best represents the game of baseball through their character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions on and off the field. Um, so it's a great list, and some of those names you'll recognize, and some of them you'll be like, I need to look into this guy. So they announced a list of names today. This tradition kind of started, or Roberto Clemente Day started in 2002. Just to give context on it. Um, your 30 nominees are um, for Arizona, Corbin Carroll; for the A's, Lawrence Butler; for the Braves, Spencer Strider; for the Orioles, Jordan Westberg; for the Red Sox, Liam Hendricks; for the Cubs, Kyle Tucker; for the White Sox, Mike Tauchman; for the Reds, Brent Suter; the Guardians, Bo Naylor; the Rockies, Kyle Freeland; the Tigers is Tariq Skubal. The Astros is Josh Hader. Kansas City is Bobby Witt Jr. The Angels, Logan O'Hoppe. The Dodgers, Mookie Betts. The Marlins, Griffin Conine. The Brewers, Sal Frelick. The Twins, Pablo Lopez. The Mets, Francisco Lindor. The Yankees, Carlos Rodon. The Phillies, Aaron Nola. The Pirates is Paul Skeens. Padres, Joe Musgrove. The Giants, Ryan Walker. The Mariners, J.P. Crawford. The Cardinals is Brendan Donovan. The Rays is Pete Fairbanks. The Rangers is Corey Seager. The Blue Jays is Jose Barrios. And for the Nationals, it's Trevor Williams. So those are the nominees for this award amongst the league. Um, and all of their stories and the charities that they're involved in is available on MLB.com with the and you can vote on this award as well. So I would encourage everyone to read some of the stories, read what the players are doing off the field, and vote for the one that touches your heart the most, the one that you feel makes the most difference. Among not only some of the off the field stuff, but to highlight some of their on the field contributions. Um, Amongst this list, there are 50 career All Star selections, including 9 from this year. There are 8 Gold Glove Award winners on this list, 6 World Series championships among these nominees, 3 Rookies of the Year, and those are Carroll, Seager, and Skeens. the league MVP being Mookie Betts, 2 postseason MVPs being Betts and Seager, and 4 youth program alumni in Lawrence Butler, Crawford, Rodon, and Witt Jr. So, among a great accomplishments across the board, obviously, um, but it's certainly nice to spending some time reading some of these stories. It's really great to see what the players are doing
Mhm.
to make a difference where they are.
And there's not a winner and a loser on this list. All of these guys are winners. These are all great things that these guys are doing in their communities. Each one of these charities or foundations that they support are doing wonderful things in their local community, giving back. It's the best part of it's the best part of baseball when you see players giving back to their community and helping others. That and vote, as Joe said, vote for vote for whatever strikes your heart the most, because there isn't a bad choice. I want to highlight one guy, Joe. Um, Fred, definitely a favorite of the show, Liam Hendricks. This is his 7th nominee for the award, and he's he donates more than $750,000 every year from his salary to different charitable causes that focus on both cancer research and treatment and support for veterans and their families. And let's remember, Hodgkin's survived and beat stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 23. So, definitely a sentimental favorite of the show for pretty much since the inception. We've always loved Liam Hendricks on this show. So,
Yeah.
Just wow, 7 nominees is insane, though.
Yeah, there's a number of guys
back,
who are repeats, Yeah, there's a number of repeats. Trevor
7 though.
Williams is one too.
That's crazy. I do love all the first timers this year. That's awesome. One thing I pulled the winners. The award started back in 1971. The first winner was Willie Mays with the Giants, and our winner last year was Salvador Perez, catcher with the Royals. So it's only one winner for the whole league. It's not an ALNL split winner. I kind of wish it would be, but I also am glad they don't dumb the award down and really make it mean something as well. One thing I do wish MLB would do, I wish the Clemente winners would get a special patch to wear, like the NFL does with the Walter Payton Award winners, that they can just keep on their uniform for the rest of their careers. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, they have an option to wear 21 as their uniform number, and they also the winners get a patch on the back of their caps. So that's something that the winner gets.
That's awesome. Well, like we said, take a look, pick something that strikes you, because all 30 of those guys are winners in my book. Absolutely fantastic. Best award MLB gives out, honestly. All right, so Cal Raleigh, man, this guy's insane. Let's be so for real right now. He hit homer number 54 this past weekend. He tied Mickey Mantle's season record for most home runs hit by a switch hitter. First of all, holy hell. And the Mariners have been hot, and Cal Raleigh's bat has been a big reason why. Mantle, he hit those 54 home runs back in 1961, so that record has stood for a very, very long time before it finally was taken down by Cal. Also, that homer was his 43rd as a catcher this year, because remember, he's been playing a decent amount of DH on days he's not catching, and that 43rd broke Javi Lopez's record for home runs as a catcher that he set back in 2003. So, Raleigh is just continues to blow us out of the water this year. He's now 2 off of Ken Griffey Jr.'s franchise record. What do you think, Joe? I think he's got it. 2 weeks left. I think he's going to at least tie it.
Yeah, I'm going to say he'll clear it by 1, so 57 at least.
Yeah,
that's my my bet. I certainly could see him getting to 58 or 59. I don't think there's enough runway for anything higher than that.
I don't either. As much as I'd love to see him take Barry Bonds' record down, he's not going to do that. You would have to play the show on rookie. I've never played baseball mode for him to get enough easy gopher fastballs to catch Barry Bonds. But regardless, it's one hell of a season for Cal Raleigh, and probably the guy. I don't think it's outlandish to say it's one of the, if not the greatest offensive seasons a catcher's ever had.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
Um, we'll get more into the to the end of the season award look later, but he's definitely going to be an MVP candidate, and he's up to 6.3 WAR, man, which for a catcher, because remember they don't typically play every day, although he's been DHing, so he's played 147 games so far. Hell of a season. He has 14. He has 14 stolen bases this year. Holy crap. That's not bad for a catcher either. He's done a great job handling the Mariners pitching staff. So, we'll see how things go moving forward. I hope I hope he at least catches Griffey. I think he will beat it. I think you're right. 1 over 2, I would say, isn't outside of the realm of possibilities, because when he goes off, he does tend to go off in bunches, but it is September and guys are getting tired. So, we'll have to see how that rolls out for the end of the year. But there's our Cal Raleigh update to see where he's at. Let's roll it into the playoffs, Joe. It's been a fun race to watch. It really has. We're seeing teams start to rise now. The Mariners have caught fire. They have passed the Astros. They are first place in the AL West for the first time since I want to say June is what I read online. It's been a while.
It was June 1st. That was the last time the Mariners were in first, and then ever since then it was Houston.
To the Mariners, I must say you're welcome. We didn't get swept by the Astros, so that allowed you the opportunity to pass them yesterday. So you're welcome. Maybe don't beat the ever-loving hell out of us as bad next time you play us next year, please. So looking at the American League right now, things are starting to solidify a little bit. The Blue Jays are up 4 over the Yankees and 5.5 over the Red Sox. Again, not over, but that's starting to feel like they're going to be wrapping that up soon. Tigers are still holding a 6.5 game lead over the Guardians. Now, I've got to say the Guardians have stayed hot from last week into this week. We were wondering, was this run for real? And they are getting hot at the right time. They're on a 4-game heater right now, 9-1 in the last 10. And I don't think they're going to catch the Tigers. But the Guardians are right outside that last wild card spot. They're only 2.5 games behind the Astros. The Astros also have to watch out for their division rival Rangers, who are only 2 games behind them. So, Joe, we'll just stick with the American League for right now. What surprises you more right now? That the Mariners caught the Astros, or that the Guardians' winning streak and hot streak seems to be for real right now, and they actually might have a shot at snipping that last wild card spot?
I think being able to sustain it probably for Cleveland is a bit of a shock given the holes obviously in the bullpen. But some Cleveland fans I know and talk to, they say that they're a pitching factory. They develop good pitching, and that has proven to be the case right now. So for me, I think Seattle, it's one of those things where we always knew they had it in them. Were they going to be able to sustain it for any period of time? And coming down the backstretch, they've been able to. I think there's something about Cleveland where you just never can count them out. So to me, I think Seattle being able to come all the way back and take the division back is probably the more surprising of the two. I think mostly because they've just underperformed at this point of the year, year after year after year. And so for them to be able to put everything together and have the success they've had the last 2 weeks, I think, is the more surprising thing. Cleveland, like I said, there's just something about them.
Yeah. To be fair, two incredible streaks right now that are going on in the American League with the Mariners and the Guardians. Um, the Astros they're kind of starting to sputter. 4-6 over their last 10. They were not able to complete the sweep in Atlanta. Red Sox are kind of slowing down a little bit, 4-6 in their last 10 as well. And we know Detroit's been holding serve because they haven't really needed to push very hard. Now that we're getting to the last 2 weeks, the number one seed right now is held by Toronto. They're 2 games up on Detroit. 2.5 games up on Detroit. And they are, what are they, about 5 games up on Seattle right now. I don't want to count Seattle out of that because of how hot they are. That does feel like a lot to climb. Do you think the Tigers are going to get back ahead of the Blue Jays for the top overall seed?
I think right now we almost have to assume, and I don't remember exactly what their schedules look like. Let me check. I
Yeah.
mean, the Tigers are playing a big series against Cleveland this week,
Mhm.
and then they're playing Atlanta in the weekend.
Yeah. So they'll take 2 out of 3 this weekend, most likely, if not sweep.
Right. So I mean that's something to consider. I think I don't know. I mean, to me, I didn't expect Toronto to be in the spot that they're in. So the fact that they are, and they're playing Tampa Bay and the Royals, and neither one of those teams is really a severe threat. So I'm gonna say that the Toronto stays in first place at least this week.
So the last 2 weeks, Detroit 3 versus Cleveland, 3 versus Atlanta, 3 at Cleveland, 3 at Boston. And then for Toronto, they're going to end the year 4 at Tampa, 3 at Kansas City, 3 versus Boston, 3 versus Tampa. I think I think I like Toronto's road a little bit better.
Well, I mean, I will say this: they have 7 against the Rays, and then um, 3 with Boston. So, I yeah, I think that's a little more comfortable.
Yeah. And then Seattle, let me just double check where they're at to see if they're really a realistic shot to make a run. 3 at KC, 3 at Houston, 3 versus the Rockies, which definitely helps, and 3 versus the Dodgers, which that series will probably be both teams resting anyway. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Toronto, agreeing with you that Toronto's likely going to hold on to the top spot in the American League, and I think it's pretty. I think probably Detroit will hold on to the number 2, and Seattle will be 3. Do you think that seeding is going to stay as well? You're muted, dude.
Sorry, took a breather.
It's all right.
I think um, I don't think we know that yet. I think it just kind of depends on this first series this week with Cleveland, how that goes will kind of determine how that second series with Cleveland's going to go. Because if Cleveland has a crappy week this week, then they're less likely to be able to make it.
Yeah, that's true. And then, do you think the Astros will hold on to that last spot, or even honestly, we should even be questioning the Red Sox right now? They're only a game ahead of the Astros for the last, in the last 2 spots in the wild card. Again, Texas is 2 games back. The Guardians are 2.5 games back.
I think I don't know. I mean, to me, um, I think if the Red Sox missed the playoffs, I think Alex Cora is out of a job, and he should be if
Yeah.
they couldn't maintain what they had. You have arguably the best pitcher in the game, in Garrett Crochet and some of the other talent they have, obviously with Roman Anthony and all those guys. So I mean, if and Bregman. So if you're unable to do it with that group, then Cora needs to be looking for a job the following day. Um, I could see that happening. To me, I feel like Houston is the one that's most likely of those two teams to slip out.
I agree.
Uh,
I think the Red Sox will hold. Um, Boy, wouldn't it be just not that all upsetting to see the Astros not make it this year? I wouldn't be upset. Um, of the two chasing them down, Joe, I think I like the Rangers odds better than I like the Guardians odds of holding on the rest of the way. Are you kind of with me on that one?
um, I certainly could see that. I mean, I think. Um, Let me just check real quick. I, the fact that they've got. Let's see. Let's see where they're at next week. So um, they've got the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Mets, and the Twins. So um, to me, I feel like Cleveland is probably the better of those two odds, given the fact that the Mets could be playing for their life at that point, and the Blue Jays are playing for the top spot. So I think the competitiveness of the Rangers schedule, I think to me leads me to lean Cleveland.
Okay, I do. I don't think there's a wrong choice to say which of the two has the possibility to overtake the Astros. I tend to lean towards the Rangers. I like their pitching better, especially if DeGrom continues to stay healthy, among others. But yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer there. So that's where we're at with the American League. Let's roll it over to the National League side, where we have the first two teams that clinched playoff berths. The Brewers and the Phillies have clinched. They are in. We don't know where yet, obviously. It's a little too soon to completely determine that. But the Phillies have pretty much – we'll talk about the Mets meltdown in a minute, but the Phillies have pretty much put the Mets to bed. I think at this point the Mets need to win out. The Phillies need to lose out for the Mets to be able to retake the East, and we know that's not going to happen. The Brewers have pretty much finished off the race with the Cubs. 5.5, there's an outside chance, but it's not a great one. No offense, dude. And
I mean, I've been saying that for the better part of a month, so you're not offending me.
if not longer, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's really curious is we started September with the Padres 2.5 games behind the Dodgers, and they've literally matched the Dodgers series record for series record the entire month. What the fuck, San Diego? We were both really hoping you'd take the Dodgers down because we like what you have out there. We like what you've been doing, but you would have thought they would have at least gotten a half a game back by now. Like, seriously?
Yeah, I mean, look, if the current seeding holds and the Cubs are fourth, I'd rather play LA than San Diego. I can tell you that much.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
So I mean, for my sake, I mean, selfishly, yeah, I wish the Padres would overtake the Dodgers and decide to play ball.
So,
You know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I would always rather I would always rather have the Dodgers than the Padres in round one. Yeah, that's a real easy one actually. Top seed is we thought it was going to be settled. Milwaukee has cooled off a bit from what was at one point one of the hottest stretches we've ever seen in the regular season. They're only 2 games up on the Phillies right now. Do you think the Phillies are hot, man? 8-2 in their I know they lost yesterday, but they're 8-2 in their last 10. Now, granted, it really helped that a lot of those games were against the Mets, that a team that the Phillies have owned in September for quite some time now. Do you think the Phillies are going to have enough to pass Milwaukee and get the number 1?
Well, I mean, Of that 8-2, 4 of that is the Mets. So just about half, or 40%, I guess. But um, do I think they can do it? Yeah, absolutely. I think they can do it, and I think there was a chance last week, and I think I alluded to that, and I think they're definitely in a position to do it now. Um, Quintana just went down last night too, and he's probably gonna be out for Milwaukee. So
Ooh.
that's a depth issue there, obviously. So I think that could be a contributing factor. Um, I mean, selfishly, would I want them to take them? Yes, but I, I mean, you know, I could see it going either way, I guess. But I feel like Philly's playing the greatest baseball they can play at the right time, and I think they sh- should, in all likelihood, take that spot.
the, the one thing I have to ask with Philadelphia is when is losing Wheeler going to catch up with them? What that he's the clear ace of that staff. He was having, he was definitely in the Cy Young conversation before he got hurt. Um, that's hard to replace, and Nola has not been spectacular since he's come off the IL. I mean, he's doing a little better, but he's still, I hate to say September Nola because it's not the same this year. Him coming off an injury. Usually September Nola rears his ugly head because he's gassed by that point. But this year he's still recovering from injury and doing what he can. So, do you think the Phillies pitching is going to sustain this? I mean, their bullpen, no doubt about it. Getting Duran was the smartest thing Dave Dombrowski has done since he took over that job. Because their bullpen went from a question mark to a hey, if we get to the ninth inning, we're good, and they've got enough setup men to get through 7 and 8 now. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitching's fine. That's starting pitching is the least of my concerns if I'm a Phillies fan. I mean, you have going back to last Wednesday, you have Christopher Sanchez who is 13-5 with a 2.57 ERA. You have Luzardo, who's 14-6. You have Walker Bueller now, who won the game on Friday. Now it's the Royals, and they've been on the downslope, but still, you have Walker Bueller pitching pretty well now that he's on a team that trusts him. I think
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker's been pitching pretty serviceably. I think this year. I think Jason would agree with that. I mean, Nola took the loss on Sunday, but um, you've got Ranger Suarez tonight. So, I mean, to me, starting pitching in a shorter series, because you're probably going to go with, and I'm just speculating here, Sanchez, Suarez, and Nola probably.
I don't know if they would go Nola or Luzardo. I mean, Luzardo is
Oh, I'm
definitely
sorry. Yeah, Luzardo. Never mind. Sorry, I messed that up. It would be Sanchez, Suarez, and Luzardo more than likely. And I mean, having Nola maybe shift to a long relief role for the playoffs or a relief role of some kind, I think you'd be fine.
so I think it's safe to say the Phillies are going to get one of the two. They're going to get one of the two first round buys. I think we can almost with pen write it in at this point. I don't think the Dodgers / Padres are going to catch them and get that 2 seed. So that means they don't have to fight the wild card round, and they can just set up for the division round. And honestly, if I'm crazy as this might sound, Joe, if I'm the Phillies, I do what you said: 1, 2, 3, Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo. But I don't shift Nola to the pen unless I absolutely need to. I want Nola Fresh to throw him game 1 of the NLCS, assuming they move on. Now, obviously, if the series goes to hell, all bets are off. This is ideal circumstance, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking if there's a sweep out of the box, and we just
Yeah.
don't
Well,
necessarily know how that's going to go.
even if the Phillies lose 1 in the NLDS, I still hold Nola for the NLCS, honestly. But anyway, we'll see. We're not there yet. Obviously, there's still plenty of baseball to play. Let's look down at the wild cards here. Cubs are looking pretty I mean, well, they're looking fine because the rest of the wild card teams just don't want to try to catch them right now. They're still holding a 3.5 game lead over the Padres and the Mets. The Mets, who are doing their best impression of Chernobyl back in 1986, are melting down in September. I've got some fun stats to back this up because, of course, I do. Of course, I do. So we're gonna look. We're gonna compare the Mets from June June 12th, and then from June 12th to now. So for the first half of the year, their starting pitching was fantastic. 279 ERA tops in the majors. Since June 12th, they are running at 509, 24th in the majors. They have three rookies in the rotation right now: Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat. For the record, there has never been a team to win the World Series with three rookie starters. I know you're probably shocked by that. Yeah. So, and the rookies haven't been, it's been a little mixed road because they're rookies. David Peterson and Clay Holmes are already long past their career highs. As you have aptly put it several times this year, they're on bonus innings with these guys now. They can't. I don't think they can rely on them as starters at this point for the playoffs. I mean, they'll have them obviously, but they're not. They're not what they were in April and May. And Kodai Senga, the ace coming into the season, he's in AAA right now because he went 0-3 in August with an ERA over 6. This is not a great rotation. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, for the first half of the year, the bullpen had a 2.82 ERA. That was number 2 in the majors. Right now, since June 12th, 5.04. That's 26th. Edwin Diaz is not the problem. The problem is, and we brought this up earlier too, Mendoza had to pull starters early a lot this year. The Mets starting pitching has not gotten them innings all year. So that bullpen is worn out. And the Ryan Helsley trade may be one of the worst deadline trades a team has ever made looking at the end result. Let's see. With the Mets, 0-3, 4 blown saves, 17 appearances, 10.29 ERA. He's allowed 20 runs, has a 3.54 batting average against. It's great when you throw the ball 100 miles an hour. It's not great when the ball comes back off the bat at 110 miles an hour. Like that batter, he's not fooling anybody right now. He's just getting shelled everywhere. It's their offense. They can't get their top 3 guys hitting consistently at any point this year. Either Alonso's been hot, or Soto's been hot, or Lindor's been hot. Sometimes they're lucky and they get 2 out of the 3 of them being hot. Not all 3 of them have not clicked together 1 point this year. They have also had, they had an 8-game losing streak where they were hitting 211, scoring only 20 runs in 8 games. They have had an 0-7 skid in early August. They had that 0-7 skid in June, where they also hit 205. And let's remember that 0-7 skid in June was largely caused by the hapless, feckless Atlanta Braves. I don't see it, dude. I don't know that the Mets can pull themselves out of this.
Well, I mean, look, I think outside of Helsley, I mean, Helsley was one of those things, and we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show every time there's a reliever trade, and in particular when you bring a closer to a team that doesn't need one, how they adjust to not getting the ball every day if there's a save situation, how they adjust to pitching in the 8th inning versus the 9th, and all of those things. So, I mean, the Helsley deal was good on paper at the deadline. It was probably one of those things where you probably could have gotten a different bullpen arm, to sort of fill that void. that wasn't looking to share the spotlight with the guy you can't share the spotlight with, which is Edwin Diaz. So, I mean, I think that part of the Helsley deal is, I think, the most confusing part. And if it worked out, we wouldn't be talking about it. So, um, I mean, I think, there's something to be said for a role that a pitcher has and a role that a pitcher is used to having, and trying to change that, just because the stuff is good. Um, the stuff can be great, and then the mental stuff is throws everything out of whack. So, I think that's something that's been a bit of a concern. I mean, I think the three guys they brought up this year, those three pitchers, Tong and McLean, and I forget the other guy offhand, but um, those guys have pitched pretty well for them. I mean, in their appearances, and I mean, there's been some minor issues in some of their starts, but overall, they've been impressive as far as being called up in a big situation like this, and having to make your debut in the middle of a chase. So I think part of it is the offense sputtering, which you alluded to, and I think not being able to get all three of those guys or four of those guys on the same page at any point throughout the year, certainly doesn't help. I mean, they're in a bad stretch right now, and it's not thanks to Juan Soto, because Juan Soto's been, as we alluded to last week, been hitting everything he could possibly do. So I think, just given the talent that's there, and given I think Lindor, Alonso, if Lindor gets hot, they'll be fine, because Lindor carries that club
Yeah, he did it
emotionally.
last year.
Right. So to me, I think, you have a chance against, you're not playing lapdogs down the stretch here. You're playing the Cubs. I think they play the Reds, and they play Cleveland. So, like, you have a lot of big games coming up if you're a Met fan, and you've got teams that aren't going to be laying down. So you do have a chance to kind of get back in a groove somehow, because you're playing competitive ball. I think they'll be fine, as far as staying in the playoffs. Where they end up in the wild card is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, it's an up and down road the rest of the way out for the Mets. 3 at home versus San Diego, 3 at home versus the Nationals, go on the road for 3 at Chicago next week, but then close for 3 at the Marlins. And although I got to tell you, dude, if I need that series, that's one that scares me, because we know what the Marlins like to do. They love to play spoiler. They love to play up to better teams. So that's not
Yeah.
that should be it should be 2 out of 3 or a sweep, but it's definitely not guaranteed.
No, I mean, certainly not. But I do think that, they like we say all the time, and like it does when we cheer on our football teams too. Winning cures everything. So, they get a couple of games here this week, and they get a couple games in the next series. If they just win 2 out of 3, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and Juan Soto is he's still hitting pretty damn well. I mean, he's slashing 280, 296, 560 in the last week. And strikeouts are up a little bit, but he's still hitting pretty damn well.
Yeah, and I think those strikeouts are up, obviously, because he's pressing, because of some of the other performances around him.
Yeah, he has to. So the teams on the outside with a chance to sneak in. First of all, San Francisco's a game and a half out right now. Hey, we called that one. Don't count San Francisco to lie down against the Dodgers. That's that's an old hate rivalry from back in the days when both teams were in New York, and the Giants would love nothing more than to get another opportunity to continue to spoil the Dodgers. Shockingly, the Diamondbacks have crept back up to 500. They're 6-4 in the last 10. They're on a 2-game winning streak, and they're playing some pretty solid ball right now. The pitching's been there, the hitting's been there, and the Reds are still there on the precipice too. They're 2.5 out, 74 and 75 overall. So, it's not only that the Mets are melting down; it's that there's teams behind them getting hot. And if the Mets don't make it, which of the three teams behind them do you think is going to get in?
Uh, Probably Cincinnati, if I had to guess. Um, I think the Francona effect, number one. They have four
Yeah,
against the Cubs here this weekend, um, and you have three against the Brewers to end the season. When Milwaukee will more than likely be laying down for at least two of them.
yeah,
So I mean, to me, the Reds is the one of those that makes the most sense. Now, I mean, that being said, I could see the Giants too. The Diamondbacks, I feel like if they do get there, you have to wonder how long they're going to make it because I mean, imagine how good you'd feel about this team if they kept Merrill Kelly at the deadline and actually
yeah.
got a solid return for Suarez because like if they had an MLB guy when in the Suarez deal, they'd feel a lot better right now.
Yeah, agreed. And we thought they didn't get enough in that deal at the time too. So this is a huge week for the Giants. They're playing all 7 days, three at Arizona and three at the Dodgers. And let's remember the Dodgers beat the hell out of them this weekend. Their two losses were 13-7 and 10-2. So you know they're going to be chomping at the bit to get back at the Dodgers. And I could, even though it's on the road, I could see it happen. And then next week, as long as they can at least maintain where they're at, next week they've got a great schedule to close the year. Three at home versus the Cardinals, three at home versus the Rockies. So that's what the Giants have. Let me check the Reds schedule too, because I don't trust that Arizona's going to keep this up. Right, I don't see it. The Reds are three at the Cardinals, four versus the Cubs this weekend, three versus the Pirates next week, and then three at Milwaukee, as you mentioned, who will not be doing anything in that series. So, uh, I the Giants definitely have the easiest last week, but they have to get to last week. You know what? I think I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with the Mets are going to fall out, and I think it's going to be. I agree. I think it's going to be the Reds that sneak in.
Yeah, if the Mets fall out, the Reds is the likely option, I think, to make that the push, like you said, of those teams.
And let's be real. I've said it since the preseason. The Reds are a scrappy team, and I'm really, really liking how the youth movement is going. So I would not be upset if that's another prediction of mine that turns out to be better than we thought when we did the ALNL Central preview show before the season started. I wouldn't be upset.
Right.
All right, so let's pull up some MLB postseason regular season award odds. All right, so look, checking the odds tracker. All right, here's what we have so far. AL MVP. The current favorite is Aaron Judge at -1,000. Cal Raleigh's at +500, and then behind that you've got Scooble and Bichette at 100-1 odds and 200-1 odds. Um, Honestly, Joe, I like Cal better than I like Judge. With what he's been able to do this, I don't care if Judge is going to pass him in home run. I really don't care about the home run total. I care more about the fact that Cal has whacked 43 home runs as a catcher and just broke Mickey Mantle's switch hitting home run record. And I think he is more valuable to his team, of which he has played the majority of games this year, than Aaron Judge has been to the Yankees, who was out hurt for a while. Um,
Yeah. I mean, as far as the numbers go, I'll just give you some of those since I pulled the stats up for you. Um, and we'll go stat by stat. Runs 101 for Raleigh, 123 for Judge. Hits 134, 163. Um, the home runs, obviously, you mentioned. Um, the doubles, Judge has them by 7, 21 to 28. RBIs, Raleigh's got that at 115 to 102. 92 walks to 109 for Judge, 171 strikeouts to 152 for Aaron Judge. Um, and Raleigh surprisingly has 14 steals and Judge has 11.
I still don't know where these 14 steals came from. I'm still trying to figure that one out. The big dumper can move the dumper to second base pretty damn quickly, almost as quick apparently as he can throw it. So, jeez. The numbers are close, and Jason has pointed this out every year. Most valuable player to their team. It has to be Raleigh, right?
I mean, that's probably where I think people would go, but I think this is one of those cases where it might actually make sense for Judge, given the fact that the rest of the Yankee offense has been eh.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think not to say that what Raleigh's doing is mediocre. It's not. It's exceptional. But I just think that there's too much. There's too much padding for Judge. Like Judge can go over in the next 2 weeks and still win this award because that's the way the voters are with this.
Yeah.
Judge has an advantage going into the season just because he's Aaron Judge. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter how good he actually performs. It's there's a guaranteed baked in expectation there.
Speaking of baked in expectations, let's look at the NL MVP race. Leading pretty significantly at this point, Shohei Ohtani's at negative 2,500. Negative 25,000. Schwarber's at 25-1, Soto's at 30-1, and PCA is at 150-1. So the odds makers say we should call this one quits. Let me pull up a comparison between Shohei and Schwarber because I think Schwarber's the only one that has a realistic shot, I think. So here is our comparison. So WAR, obviously, Ohtani's going to be higher at 6'6" to 4'7". He also has pitching to bolster that a little bit. Hits 158 to 136 to Ohtani. Homers 52 to 49 for Schwarber. RBIs 127 to 93 for Schwarber. Stolen bases 18 to 10 for Ohtani. Average 281 to 244 for Ohtani. 393 to 371 for Ohtani for OBP. Slug 607 to 569. Also to Ohtani. OPS to Ohtani 1001 to 940. Boy, it pains me to say this. I think, I don't think Schwarber's got a snowball shot in hell at catching Ohtani.
Again, to me, this is kind of the same thing as Judge. There's a baked in, oh my gosh, he's the greatest player of all time. I'm sorry, but when Schwarber's got you beat by 34 RBIs,
yeah,
that's a big deal. That's a big number. And when you look at the Dodgers, right? To me, you have Ohtani. They've got Betts. They've got Freeman. They've got Will Smith has been on a tear most of the year. And most of those guys, with the exception of right now, I know Will Smith's hurt, but with the exception of that, most of those guys have been healthy all year long. When you look at Schwarber, I think when you consider the fact that Bryce Harper was out for a month at least, you've got Trey Turner and Alec Boehm down, and neither one of those was performing up to, I think, what people wanted them to or expected them to do numbers wise most of the year. To me, following the logic of Jason, the most valuable player to their team, there's no way in hell this should be anybody but Kyle Schwarber. Personal, love for Schwarber aside, when you look at strictly the impact they have on their club, this is ridiculous that this is, Ohtani's getting this baked into the cake nonsense when you have the amount of stars you have around him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And honestly, if I was a voter and I had a choice, it's Kyle Schwarber has my vote, not Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, Schwarber has done more with less to carry that team than Ohtani has. And that I don't mean that to put down the Phillies roster, but given the injuries they have had this year, he has had to carry that team a lot more on his back than Shohei Ohtani has had to carry his.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's just like Jason says, the most valuable player to their team, and by far and away, Schwarber is the most valuable player to his team of those four guys. And at the All Star break, I would have said Pete, but Pete went on a real slide, just like Tucker did, just like the rest of them. So I
mhm.
mean, to me, Schwarber is the one who's been Mr. Consistent. I'm going to put the club on my back, and we're going to make things happen.
Yeah, yep, every year too. Honestly. All right, let's move it into the Cy Youngs. AL Cy Young, the favorite right now is Tariq Skubal at minus 2,000. And then right behind him, Garrett Crochet at plus 850. And then Hunter Brown at 100 to 1 and Jacob DeGrom at 100 to 1. So this one's a lot closer. Skubal leads WAR 6.2 to 5.7. And Crochet, now granted, Crochet does have one more start than Skubal, so keep that in mind for these numbers. Crochet leads innings 191 and a third to 183 and a third. Record goes to Crochet at 16-5 versus 13-5. ERA goes to Skubal at 226 versus 263. Strikeouts goes to Crochet at 240 versus 224. Strikeout percentage goes to Skubal at 32.1 versus 31.5. Walks only 28 for Skubal, 43 for Crochet. Walk percentage of 4% versus 5%. I didn't realize Skubal would only walk 28 guys this year. Jesus, that's Maddox-esque. Damn. I think Skubal's going to take it again. I do, but I think this is going to be really close.
Yeah, this is one of those again where it just kind of feels like, Skubal continues to set the bar. To me, I know that postseason doesn't matter, but getting there, I think, does. And if Crochet has probably two more starts left
Mm-hmm.
and is absolutely dominant and puts the club on his back, I think that's going to matter. And I think that Crochet will take this.
I could see it. I could see it. Yeah. Wow, wouldn't that be crazy? Yeah, it's definitely not a lock. There's a reason this race is the closest odds to all of them put together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the next 2 weeks are definitely going to decide this one. I like Skubal, but you're right. If Crochet gets the Red Sox in, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it in that last week. Looking at the NL, this is pretty much wrapped up now. Skeens is at negative 20,000. Sanchez 16 to 1, Peralta 50 to 1, Logan Webb 200 to 1. Just a quick comparison between Skeens and Sanchez. Skeens has the WAR at 7.4. Skeens does have one extra start, so keep that in mind with numbers. Sanchez does have the innings at 182 and a third to 178. He has the better record at 13-5 to 10-9, and this is where Skeens is going to run away with it. ERA 192 versus 257 for Skeens. Strikeouts 203 to 192 in favor of Skeens. Strikeout percentage 29.4% versus 26 for Skeens. Walks 39 versus 43 for Skeens, and walk percentage of 5.6 versus 5.8 again for Skeens. Great year for Sanchez. It's not going to happen, buddy. This is going to be one of those times where, just like when Jacob DeGrom won it with the Mets with a barely 500 or sub 500 record, it was because DeGrom won it because he was clearly the best pitcher in the league, and his numbers showed it, even if his team couldn't ever give him a damn run to support him. Same thing with Skeens. If Skeens was on a playoff roster right now, that record would be 22 to 24 wins based on how he's pitched this year, I think.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know, man. To me, I understand that the team sucks. I get that. I really do for Pittsburgh. But again, to me, this is, again, so much of this is baked into the cake. Skeens has a 10 plus 10,000 or minus 10,000 lead before the season even begins because he's a rock star and his girlfriend is a famous gymnast. Like this is ridiculous to me that how much of that plays into what feels like is baked in. I'm not saying Skeens is a bad pitcher. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't want that to come across that way.
No, I don't
Um,
think you are.
and I think DeGrom was just otherworldly the year that he won it, with the record being as poor as it was. To me, this should be a lot closer than it is. To me, if I had a vote, it's probably Sanchez, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I a sub 2 ERA. I mean, it's unless Skeens gets rocked in the last couple weeks in each start, I think it's pretty much in the bag. Now let's go to the most. There's no chance of anybody else winning this award. The AL Rookie of the Year, Nick Big Amish Kurtz, Lancaster County boy. He's at negative 50,000 right now. You also have Roman Anthony at 40-1, Cam Smith at 75-1, Jason Dominguez at 75-1. I don't think we really need to break this one down very much. Big Amish has been impressing us all summer, especially that game where he just decided to set a new record for RBIs in the game. Yeah, you got it, buddy. I don't think we have to debate this one very much.
Yeah, I'd expect with the numbers he's put up that this is a lock.
Yeah. Now, NL Rookie of the Year, which at one point looked like Drake Baldwin was going to run away with it, but he hasn't been as great in the second half, and Cade Horton of the Cubbies has been on fire. He's the current odds-on favorite, although it's tight. It's negative 175 to plus 135. Also, two guys for the Brewers, Isaac Collins, Caleb Durbin, 10 to 175 to 1. I know it's hard to compare a hitter versus a pitcher, but looking at some of the things here, Baldwin's line this year, 263, 333, 428, 15 homers, 93 hits, 13 doubles, 64 RBIs, 34 walks, 60 strikeouts. That's 390 plate appearances. So one thing the scouting report said on Baldwin before the season is that he has a really good feel for the strike zone, and that's definitely showing with his numbers this year. Looking at the pitching, Cade Horton has been ridiculous, especially in the second half of the year. Overall, in 21 appearances, 20 starts, 10-4, a 270 ERA, 110 innings, 90 hits, 38 runs, only 33 earned, 9 homers, 32 walks, 89 strikeouts, 6 hit batters, 1 wild pitch, whip of 1.109. 7.4 hit per 9, 0.7 homer per 9, 2.6 walk per 9, 7.3 strikeout per 9. Pitching WAR, WAR is 1.7 for Horton. Baldwin is 2.0. So that's tight, man. This is one where I think you could give it to either player, and I think you'd make the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly could see Baldwin taking this. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you mentioned Horton's full season. Just post All-Star, he's 7-1 with a .84 ERA. That's 10 starts, 53 and a third, 28 hits, 5 runs, 14 walks, 46 strikeouts. His whip in the second half is .79, and the batting average against is 151.
Yeah. And like I said, there's no denying second half. If it's second half only, the award's Horton's. No, absolutely no questions asked. But they do look at the whole season. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think it's truly a coin flip at this point for who it's. I think Horton probably has a slight edge because of how good his second half has been. But looking at the season as a whole, I think it's pretty close to 50-50.
Yeah, and I think the backstretch certainly matters. I think,
Yeah.
and I think it kind of depends on you know the two starts or so that Horton has left, maybe three. Um, Assuming he doesn't get rocked and he has the performances that he's been having the second half, I think that'll go a long way to locking that up. Probably.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. We'll see a lot over the next week to 2 weeks, and any movement there. Joe, you asked me a question. Um, if it was a single winner for Cy Young and a single winner for MVP instead of for each league, who's taking it? Well, based on our conversations tonight, Cy Young would go to Tariq Skubal over Paul Skeens. And MVP, oh God, it would be Judge versus Otani based on odds. You know what? Screw that. Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh overall MVP. So to hell with the odds. Yeah, if MLB would ever go to single, that's where I would have it this year. I like that they do both leagues though. I wouldn't mind if they did like okay, these are from both leagues. Who gets the overall? I wouldn't mind if they did that, but I do like that they do it the way they do, so more players get recognized. All right, Joe, let's roll it into the hot list. I'm going to go with Josh Bell. Actually, is my hot hitter this week. I have two. Well, I'll give one, and then I'll let you go ahead. And if you don't mention my second guy, I'll bring him up. Josh Bell slash 364, 348, 773. 22 at bats, 5 runs, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 8 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Solid week overall for Mr. Bell. Who's your hot hitter, Joe?
Um, I'm gonna go with which one do I want to use? I'm gonna go with. I had two, but I'll go with Schwarber first.
Mhm.
Um, 333, 500, 810 slash line. 6 runs on 7 hits, 1 double, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 7 walks on the week, um, and 7 strikeouts for Schwarber.
Yeah, he's trying so hard to carry that team. So hard. All right. Who is your Moneyball guy?
I'm gonna go with Geraldo Perdomo from the Diamondbacks.
Mhm.
This last week, 438, an on base of 609, a slug of 813. 4 runs on 7 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 5 walks, 1 strikeout, 2 stolen bases, and caught stealing 1 time.
That's a great week. The other guy I want to mention is Mookie Betts. His slash line last week 462, 517, 808, 7 runs, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 12 hits, 3 doubles, 3 walks to 1 strikeout. It is definitely not Harrison Bader. Um, Sorry, Phillies fans. I know he's hit 485 last week, but he did strike out 12 times, and I'm not. I can't do that. Sorry. Not good week, but man, 12 strikeouts. Ugh. All right, rolling it over into pitching. My pitcher is going to be Garrett Crochet. 2-0 in 2 starts, both quality starts, 13 innings, 3 earned runs, 8 hits, a walk, 2 home runs, 22 strikeouts, 208 ERA, a very nice .69 whip. Who do you have for pitching? You're muted, Joe.
Muted. I'm muted. Good luck. Um, Ranger Suarez is one. 1-0 in his one start for the week, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, but 12 strikeouts, a .67 on the whip and a 0.56 batting average against. And then the other one I'm going to highlight is a reliever. The other reliever I have for adulting was just a little bit better, so I do want to still highlight him. Clayton Beeter from the Washington Nationals. 4 appearances on this week, 1-for-1 in save opportunities, 3 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, a .55 whip, a 0.83 batting average against. So Clayton Beeter had himself a heck of a week, pitching wise.
That's a good week.
Yeah.
I want to highlight one other pitcher, Brian Wu of the Mariners, also 2-0 with 2 quality starts, 12 innings, 4 earned runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 home runs, 22 strikeouts, 3 ERA of 3, whip of .58. So the long ball bit him a couple times, but I don't care. 22 strikeouts in 12 or 13 innings. That's a great week. I don't care who you are.
Absolutely.
All right, Joe. Who is the adulting reliever of the week?
Now, you can call me a homer if you want to, but I think these numbers will be justified. Andrew Kittredge from the Chicago Cubs. 4 appearances this week, 3-for-3 in save opportunities, 3 2/3 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. His whip is a .27 on the week, and no hits, obviously, so 0s on the batting average.
Nah, I'm not going to call you a homer for that one. That's a damn good week. All right, we did for hot teams. We briefly touched on them with the playoffs. The Blue Jays are hot right now. The Guardians, the Mariners are hot. I do want to mention one non-playoff team that actually had a surprisingly strong week last week. The Oakland Athletics. They're on a 4-game heater right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10. So. Joe, did you want to mention any other teams? We really kind of hit the teams pretty well in playoffs.
Did it again. Sorry.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think Philly obviously is still on a tear, which we covered, like you said. But I think the other thing we can highlight is the Colorado Rockies reached that 41-win plateau, so they will be at least as bad as the White Sox, if not better than the White Sox from last year. We will see what happens there.
I mean, the odds weren't great that they would match. We should remind everybody that it's hard to be that bad. But boy, did they try their damnedest to get there. Just to highlight the last 2 weeks, 3 versus the Marlins, which theoretically they should be able to at least get one of those. 3 versus the Angels, maybe one of those, and then they've got the Mariners and the Giants who are going to pummel them. So the Rockies might not be much better than the White Sox of last year, but they should get a game or 2 ahead of them. Maybe. Nothing is guaranteed when we're talking about the Rockies this year. All right, Joe, anything else for you this week?
Nope.
All right, guys, audio recordings are available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. We're live on YouTube as well as Facebook. Merchandise is at redbubble.com/people/DDAB-podcast. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer. We're presented by Dark Arrow Podcast, LLC, and sponsored by Bear and Barbershop over in Manheim. May your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We will see you next week.